Justin versus Dustin. We know what happened first time around. Second time around, it did not fail to deliver, Mike.
Well, the second time around was almost a carbon copy of the first fight, which was an incredible display of mixed martial arts. I mean, Justin and Dustin, two of the most exciting on the roster. That's why they're fighting for the BMF, and they went straight to it. Now, it initially started, it looked like Justin was going to cruise to an easy victory. He was faster, he was sharper, the reflexes were on point, impressive head movement, just like the first fight, chipping away with those low kicks. And in fact, not chipping away, butchering the legs. I mean, they were heavy, heavy low kicks. But of course, eventually, Justin found his rhythm, found his timing, more importantly, found the chin, connected with a couple of massive shots, wobbled Gaethje, knocked him stumbling back into the fence. And I'm like, oh, here we go. This is going to be an all-out war. Round two, more of the same. Low kicks, low kicks, low kicks from Gaethje. It's the oldest trick in the book, right? Dustin knows these tricks. It doesn't matter, you know what I mean? It's only when you're eating heavy low kicks like Justin delivers that, you focus on that. So he's eating all these low kicks or eating the low kicks, and then Justin goes high. Feints with the right hand, throws the right leg behind it, shin on chin, flush to the mush, down you go. That was that. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Dustin Poirier hit the deck in emphatic fashion. One more cheeky little follow-up from Justin Gaethje, and that was it. I mean, spectacular. Just incredible.
Flush to the mush might be my new favourite saying on this show. Absolutely emphatic. And, okay, I'll do it for you, Nick. If we kind of mirror the main event from Salt Lake last year, it's exactly that. One was left side, one was right side. As Mike just said there, he went with the right hand, feinted it, and then followed it up with a high kick, which landed beautifully on the whiskers of Dustin Poirier.
It was absolutely perfect. And to be honest with you, I think the first round was really close. I think Dustin might have just nicked it with that straight left hand, which opened a cut over Justin's eye. That was probably the biggest damage, most significant moment. But Justin did throw that head kick twice, halfway through the first round, right towards the end of the round as well. But Dustin caught it on both occasions. But as Mike pointed out, the third time he threw it, early in the second round, this time he disguised it behind a straight right-hand lead. It was absolutely sensational. I've got to be honest, I was blown away by the performance by Terence Crawford in the boxing ring. I was blown away again by the level of Justin Gaethje. When you think about 6 years ago, their last fight, when he was this push-forward, marauder, volume, fighter, reckless abandon. These days, he's more back foot, he's more patient, he's a lot more calm. He's picking his shots a lot more. He's far more technical these days. And I just think, listen, Dustin is still one of the best in the world, but Justin Gaethje's gone from down here to up here. I thought he was phenomenal.
The best thing about it, Mike, as well, is that he's managed to keep the entertainment level high. Because, like Nick was saying, he was reckless abandon, which obviously is really fan-friendly, but he's still fan-friendly by keeping himself, not necessarily out of danger, but just being a little bit smarter with his work.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, he's still super aggressive. He's still always going for the finish. He's still trying to do damage, maximum damage with every single shot, but he's also got safety in mind. Defense is very, very important. We all want to see those guys that stand there and take one to land one. But that's not what fighting's about. The sweet science is about hitting and not getting hit. And with the work with Trevor Whitman, it's really, really paying off. You could see the strides. He could every time. Last time against Rafael Fiziev, he looked so good, and that was a further example of that last night. And listen, that head kick, that would have knocked anybody out. I mean, the sound of the impact on the replay is like, oh God, it was sickening. Beautiful at the same time, but absolutely disgusting for Dustin Poirier to have to experience that. But listen, you got to admire the beauty and the skill that goes into delivering a technique like that. And we know we've got Charles Oliveira taking on Islam Makhachev later in the year. Justin Gaethje will be fighting the winner of them. And, man, I find it very hard right now to bet against Justin Gaethje after that performance last night. My word.
Well, we know that he's already been in with Charles and he's fallen short there. And obviously he's been in with Khabib, which is, I suppose people are classing Islam as Khabib 2.0. But like what you've just said there a moment or two ago, Nick, this version of Justin Gaethje, this developing version, the one that we saw at 286 against Fiziev, this version that we've seen now at 291, he's getting better and better, which kind of brings a different narrative to whether he does rematch Charles or takes on Islam next up.
Yeah, and listen, and what comes next? Can he evolve again? What if he suddenly starts taking people down? What if he starts mixing it up as well? Something that he's ignored his entire career to be this fan favourite. But he's evolving. And he is just getting better with every fight. And what was really interesting in the aftermath of this is when he himself said that first round against Rafael Fiziev in London, I was like, you know what? I can make this. I can compete better than this. I'm on a different level to this. And he just went through the gears. And I think he convinced himself that night as much as everybody else that, wow, Justin Gaethje can get better. It's not just about taking one to land one. He's far more technical. He's setting stuff up now. And he was patient. He was precise against Dustin Poirier. I think he surprised Dustin a little bit as well. You know, Dustin had to lead the dance this time. 6 years ago, he was waiting for Gaethje to come onto him a lot more. This time around, Gaethje was quite happy to take a little backward step and allow Dustin to come into the action and allow Dustin to walk onto his stuff. That's an evolving fighter. That's the guy that's super exciting about what he can do next. And as Mike said, he's the guy now. He is absolutely, I'd love to see, hopefully he flies to Abu Dhabi. Hopefully he sits cage side and hopefully he gets nose to nose with the winner in October when that fight takes place, because he is 100% next.
Yeah, and I think in terms of the evolution, it's if you're somebody like Justin Gaethje that's incredibly talented and you get to the top of the food chain and you become the interim champion, you lose to Khabib, you get another shot at the undisputed belt, you lose again. And the window of opportunity in your career is closing. It's like, okay, do I really want to become the champion? Because now I'm going to have to really make some changes. You know, going forward, throwing kicks, being over aggressive. You're walking onto things. And importantly, you're also walking onto takedowns as well. If he does get a chance to fight Islam, that will be absolutely crucial. Being in control of your feet, in control of the momentum of your body weight going towards someone, being able to stay neutral, go forward when you choose, go away when you choose, pick your shots, being in control, being on balance. And that's what we see. I mean, that man is on balance at all times. And it's an often overlooked aspect of mixed martial arts, because you see people charge forward, throwing shots, and they lose control of their feet and they fall into clinches or they fall into a takedown attempt. And that often results in them being on the backside.
One little side note to this as well, Nick. I know that we all love a bit of trash talk. We love those press conferences where a little bit of something goes back and forth, but these two have been absolutely class with each other all week. They don't need to, obviously, because the first fight kind of sells itself. Everybody knew what they were getting. And in the post-fight, I just thought they were absolutely sensational with each other. More obviously, Dustin and Justin are always class. But from a Poirier point of view, he's just been on the receiving end of a head kick knockout. And the way that he went over and congratulated Justin, saying, listen, man, unbelievable setup. He's dished that out many, many times. And he realizes how good you've got to be able to get someone like him in that situation. I just thought the pair of them were the absolute epitome of top class mixed martial arts.
Yeah, and listen, a shot like that he doesn't see coming, he doesn't expect, that can happen. That's what this sport is. You know, that's why it's so entertaining. That's why it's so exciting. You take your eye off the ball, you ignore something, you miss a feint, you miss a telltale sign, you swallow a head kick, and next thing you're looking up at the lights and the referee's waving it all off. And Dustin's been around long enough to know that can just happen in this sport, and how you come back from that. You know, sometimes you're the hammer, more often than not, but every now and again you've got to be the nail. And at 34 years of age, okay, he's had 2 shots at the belt. He's got generational wealth with the Conor money. He said afterwards, I've achieved more in this sport than I've ever dreamed. But he's still Dustin Poirier. He's not going to slide right down the lead. He's going to have a couple of fights now to get back in the mix. But he knows that he's just lost to the very best version of Justin Gaethje I think we've ever seen in the sport. And there's absolutely no shame in losing to a guy of that caliber.
You just mentioned there, before we hear from Justin Gaethje, and we all want to hear from him because he was absolutely fantastic. He was backstage with Catterall and Nick Peet. Before we get to that, Mike, just a quick one. Obviously, social media always reacts to these types of fights, and I know that all three of us are in the same ilk here. We want to see Islam versus Charles Part 2, and the winner of that then take on Justin Gaethje, absolutely, after the performance that we've just seen. But other people, they go to social media, they start calling people out, and as Nick's just highlighted there, Dustin Poirier got some of that Conor money. Conor's been on social media talking about Justin Gaethje. If the offer's there for Justin Gaethje, would you support him saying, listen, I'm just going to take a little bit of a left here to go and get myself some of that Conor money and stick this BMF belt on the line?
He was asked at the post-fight press conference because Conor, you know, he's always got to insert himself straight away. He's there chirping away. And listen, that's what fighters do. Fair play to him. So he was asked directly at the microphone. He said, would you fight Conor McGregor? He said, I think Conor McGregor turned me down 5 or 6 times. Now he's the one begging for me. Now he wants to fight me. And it feels good to say no. Listen, Conor is still the biggest star in the sport. By far. It's not even a conversation. However, Justin Gaethje is interested in becoming the undisputed lightweight champion of the world. And that is what winning the BMF title, which is a beautiful thing. It's an iconic title in the sport, and it will go down in history because it's rarely competed for. So congratulations to him for that. But as we said on the post-fight show, this is the pathway to the lightweight championship. And yeah, we also want money. And I'm sure Justin Gaethje has done very well. And he knows that his time in the sport is coming to an end. He wants that belt more than anything. And if he gets the belt, then maybe he doesn't get as much as a Conor fight, but he still gets pay-per-view points. He still gets his legacy. He still gets the money. But more importantly, when he rests his gloves down on the canvas, when he goes home, he says, I did it. I did it. I went out there. I entertained the crowds. I fought my kind of fight, my style. I stayed true to myself. I didn't sell myself out. And I've got the UFC Lightweight Championship on top of my mantelpiece.
Mate, you should do movies, mate, with that type of speech. That'd be beautiful. Loved every minute of that.
There we go.
If he wraps that world title belt around his waist, if he can beat Islam or Charles the start of next year, the Conor fight ain't going anywhere anyway. So you can always cash it in then.
Exactly. Yeah. That's my point. The money comes then because you're the guy.